So we're going to talk about grinding and praying tonight. Sounds like a funny combination, but let's see if we can pull it together for you. First of all, let's give you a little bit of the backstory about why I'm here. See that guy up there? I'm that guy. I am an action figure. I may not look like an action figure, but I am the ultimate action figure. When I was a little girl, probably about 5 years old, I was in ballet class. Most little girls take ballet classes. The high point of most ballet classes is the recital that you put together for your family and friends. We practiced and practiced and practiced. We got fitted for our costumes and then practiced and practiced and practiced. Of course, every practice session, there was a teacher out in front of us leading us through the dance routine that we were supposed to be doing. Recital day arrives. I'm up on the stage with all my little friends. The curtain goes up. The music starts. And everybody stands there like a deer in the headlights. Didn't take me very long to realize, even at 5, that something had to be done. And I couldn't think of anybody better to do it than me. So I stepped from my place at the back of the line, because I was always one of the tall ones and always at the back, walked up to the front, turned my back on the audience, and promptly decided to take over the role of the teacher and direct all my little friends in the ballet routine. By this time, the audience was alternately in hysterical laughter and clapping. My mother was wanting to crawl underneath the seat in front of her, and my father was one of the loudest clappers. It was one of my mother's favorite stories to tell about me. I was 5 years old. Fast forward 58 years to the summer of 2013. In the 6 months between April and October of 2013, my life changed dramatically. In April, I had major surgery. In May, I turned 60. I know. Hard to believe, but it's true. Over 4th of July weekend, my daughter's boyfriend moved in with us. I knew that was going to happen. I had invited him. But it just so happened that Kate was in Colorado while Trevor was moving into our home in Geneva. That was a little awkward. Middle of July, I lost my job. I had no idea it was coming. I knew the company was in trouble. But my ego said, well, you're the top recruiter in the company. They're not going to fire you. Whatever they do, they'll build the new team around you. So on July 17th, that Friday afternoon, when the boss called and said, we need to talk, we're firing the whole department, I said, oh, all right, well, what can I do to get us up and running again? And he said, no, Cynthia, you too. I'm like, oh, all right, well, that's news. By Labor Day weekend, my daughter and Trevor, Kate and Trevor, moved out, and I became an empty nester. That was a surprise after 15 years of living with her as a single parent. Now all of a sudden I was all alone and unemployed. It was way too quiet and way too depressing. So I joined an improv class. Seriously, because I knew I needed to laugh and have more fun in my life. I also got a roommate. The first time in my life I've ever lived with a non-family member. Off of Craigslist. No less, yeah. And he's still with me 2 years later. And I got a puppy. I adopted Bella. Now, these may seem like totally unrelated stories, but let me tell you, as an adult, looking back on it, I can tell you that there's a real connection between those stories. And that's what I want to talk about here today, and to try to give you guys some practical takeaways that are going to help you be able to do whatever it takes in your life to turn it around and lead it in the direction you want it to go. See, this is my art background. I started on a drawing board back when there was hard metal type. So everybody needs a toolbox. Plumber is nothing without his toolbox. That's why you pay him so much money, because he's got the greatest toolbox. He knows what tool to pull out in what situation and exactly how to use it. You guys all need toolboxes. We all need toolboxes. And our toolboxes have to be comprised of both hard skills and soft skills. Now, I'm not going to talk about hard skills tonight because those are really the easy side of the house. Those are things like learning how, you get them in school, and it's like learning how to do your resume and learning how to do your LinkedIn profile, and if you're a photographer, learning what aperture and speed of film to use, and if you're a graphic designer, it's using all of the kerning and the typefaces and all the funky things that they do. So those are really things that everybody has pretty easy access to. Everybody knows they're pretty important, and everybody has a pretty good way of going about them. You can get those skills pretty much anywhere. The harder part are the soft skills. Soft skills are things that we're just starting to learn about. Brain research in the last few years has been just phenomenal in teaching us all of the ways in which our brains work. The soft skills are the ones that are really going to make the difference over the long haul. All of the current thinking from Malcolm Gladwell to Daniel Pink to Brené Brown, they're all telling us over and over again that it's not just what you know, it's who you are inside, those emotional intelligences that drive you to do the things that you do. And those are a whole heck of a lot harder to get a handle on than the hard skills. So when I created do-over.me in the spring of 2014, after I had gone through my do-over, I made a commitment to help people, not just with those hard skills, but more importantly, with these soft skills. And I've identified 3. Not that these are the only ones that you should think about, but these are 3 that I think are pretty important. Okay, takeaway. Don't you love that graphics? Okay, so first of all, own your own voice. When I was a little girl, all of my friends had black patent leather shoes. Mine were red. And that was great. I loved it. I loved being unique and different. I have pearls. I've always worn pearls. This is who I am. You have to know who you are. You have to love and embrace your authentic self. Don't try to be somebody else. You will never succeed. But you will always succeed if you know and celebrate your own unique gifts. I believe, I'm not a Christian, but I am a theist, and I believe that whoever made all this happen out there gave each one of us a very unique and special gift. And in my world, sin is when you don't give that gift away. It's sort of like, think about your own individual version of It's a Wonderful Life. How would the world be different if you weren't here and you didn't share your gifts? So knowing what your gifts are and celebrating them is crucial to your success. Now, what's success? Success is different for everybody. For me, now, success isn't about the money. I'm poorer than I've ever been in my life. As an executive in advertising and marketing, I made some money. As an executive level recruiter, I made some money. As the founder of do-over.me, I volunteer. But I'm happier now than I've ever been in my life. So when you're thinking about what you want to do with your life, Make sure that you're doing it on your terms, not on the world's terms. Because the only one in the end that you have to make happy is you. Step out of your comfort zone. One of the reasons I went to improv was, as I said, because I knew I needed to laugh. I was super depressed. And that's 2 hours of scheduling laughter. You know, I'm a little bit OCD, and if I can put it in my date book, then I know for 2 hours at improv, I have to laugh, because that's what's expected of you, okay? It really was stepping out of my comfort zone, but I realized that what's the worst that can happen? I wasn't going to get killed over improv, and I was going to learn, and I was going to laugh while I was doing it. And I quickly learned that improv is one of the best things that you can do to build all those soft skills. There pretty much isn't a soft skill that isn't positively impacted by a regular participation in an improv class. And you know why that is? I don't go to the gym. You can probably tell. Even though I'm an action figure, I don't go to the gym. But I have great mental muscle. Because improv, doing it on a regular basis, practicing all those things like yes and, active listening, all those things that improv people talk about, those are the things that build mental muscles so that when you're in those situations like Matt was talking about, you're going to be able to say, I'm good at this, and think in your head, damn it, and make it mean something because you've practiced it. It's just like Michael Jordan going to the basketball hoop. He didn't learn to do that overnight. You know, he got kicked off his high school team, and now people think he's probably one of the greatest basketball players that ever lived. You got to practice. You got to accept failure as part of the process. This is another thing that you learn from improv. It's something that Matt talked about in his speech. Failure is not something to be afraid of. Failure is really something that is so important because each time you fail, you get a chance to learn and try it again. Do it differently. Succeed the next time. We talk at do-over.me about failing quickly. Make a lot of choices, make a lot of decisions, take a lot of actions, fail a lot of times, learn, repeat. And eventually you're going to get where you want to go. Nobody ever said this was going to be fast or easy, but it will ultimately get you where you want to go. You need to keep growing and changing. I mean, you know, I'm 62 years old, but I know how to tweet and Twitter and twat and all that other, whatever that stuff is. You know, I got a 24-year-old who can help me keep up with all that because you have to. Because if you don't keep growing and challenging yourself, especially with technology the way it is today, you're going to stagnate and you're going to die. Well, I don't want that. And you guys are all younger than I am, so I can't imagine that you want to think about doing that. So you have to continually challenge yourself. You have to stay relevant. You have to have a gift that somebody wants in this world. And I guarantee that they will. You were put here for a reason. You just have to figure it out and then give it away. Okay, the last thing is build your own tribe. Surround yourself with a group of people that will be able to support you through all of the things that you're going to go through. Make connections wherever there is to make a connection. I was sitting at the local ice cream store in downtown Geneva recently with Bella, and there was this guy walking back and forth, and he was, you know, smiling and interacting with Bella. And he seemed really interested, so I struck up a conversation with him. Well, I'm not going to go into the whole story with you, but now he's my new best friend, and he brings me food about 3 times a week. And he's Iraqi, and he was a general in the Iraqi army who partnered with the U.S., and it was his U.S. general friends that got him and his wife and 4 kids over here under war relief. I mean, and if I wouldn't have smiled and said, hey, you know, come on over, talk to us, I would have never met the guy, and he's fascinating. So be open to all those connections. You never know when somebody is going to play a major role in your life. So be open to it. Invite diversity. You don't want all the same people on your team. If the baseball team had all pitchers on it, who would they pitch to? You know, everybody has to have, every baseball team has to have a catcher and a first baseman, and I mean, you guys know all the nine positions. So fill your team with all the people that have the skills that you don't have, because then you'll learn from each other, and you'll share, and you will grow together. And then celebrate the give and the take. Understand that if you want something from somebody, you have to make deposits into that relationship bank before you can expect to make withdrawals. So you can't become out of work or need a new job and all of a sudden think of the network that's going to help you do that if you haven't spent several years building that network. And that's Bella. She's the head person in my tribe this day. And it was one of the best things I ever did for myself during the do-over that I went through, because she's like my mom. I always say she's my mom reincarnated, because like your mom, they always love you, and they're always glad to see you, no matter what day and time it is. So, in the end, what I would tell you is that those 3 takeaways are important, but the most important thing that you need to just kill it in your career and in your life is to be able to ask for what you want, believe that you're going to get what you want, work like hell doing everything and anything you can to move yourself forward to get what it is that you want. Receive it, share it with everybody around you, and say thank you. Now, you didn't think I was going to let you get off that easy, did you? Here's the big difference, and here's why I call myself an action hero. I love to read all the books. That's what bonded Adam and I in the beginning, a book. I love to watch all the TED topic talks. I love to go to conferences like this and hear all the other ideas. But you know what? That doesn't mean anything unless you do something. It's only actions that are going to give you results. So if you talk about it and think about it and write about it, but you don't ever do anything about it, you're never going to move forward. Whatever it is that's holding you back, fear, perfectionism, whatever, not having the right kind of shoes to wear, whatever. If you don't move past that and do something, you will never get to be an action figure. And as an action figure, you have the whole world at your fingertips. You're happy and you're fulfilled, and your career will rock. What I want to do is say to you that if I could, I would come out into the audience and I would give each one of you a really huge hug and look you straight in the eye and tell you, you are awesome. You rock. You can do whatever it is that you put your mind to do. So just put your mind to do it and then do it. Thank you.